What is good in the hood? What's up, guys? Hopefully everyone is doing well. Give me 1 second. I gotta just share this on one of my other pages here, and then we can jump into it for today. Basically, today, guys, I'm planning on talking about what I'm going to be doing in terms of business credit. I'm going to be taking the first step, and I've kind of already done the research and everything in terms of what I need to do first. So I'm going to be touching on what that is, and pretty much be taking questions apart from that. If you guys have any questions, y'all can just put it down in the comments, and it can be questions regarding anything. So if you guys have questions in terms of, let me see, if you guys have questions regarding business credit or just in general, feel free to just throw it down in the description below or the comments below. Okay, got that shared. Let me make sure everything's good. YouTube. Perfect. Cool. Everything's smooth. All right, guys. If you can hear me and everything, just throw some down in the comments so I know that y'all can hear me okay. Just throw one in the comments. And I'm going to go ahead and get started unless y'all having any issues on your end. So yeah, basically, for those guys who don't know, I have been planning on doing I kind of want to do like an over-the-shoulder business credit where I would be showing you guys what steps I'd be taking to get business credit. And this was specifically business credit without using my social at all. So I wanted to see how much credit would I be able to get access to without having to put my social security number on any forms. Now, the reason why I wanted to do that is because of something called a personal guarantee. Now, anytime you are doing things related to your business, for example, you're getting like business credit cards, a lot of the times they'll ask you for your social security number. And the reason being is they'll typically tie the credit for that actual card to both the business and you at the same time. So if something were to happen, let's say your business couldn't actually pay back whatever the credit was that they accessed, then the lender would come after you personally for that. Okay, so that's the benefit of trying to get things with no personal guarantee. That's kind of what was the biggest motivation for me was, when you hear a lot of these companies or these large corporations going bankrupt, typically what they're doing is not really going bankrupt in the sense that like they lost everything and it's just like a yard sale and they're just getting rid of everything. Typically what's happening is they just start reorganizing, right? So they kind of try to make deals with their lenders, so on and so forth, all these different things. But for small businesses, it's kind of tough because a lot of the times there's a statistic out there that was like, I think it was like between 60 to maybe it was even 80%, as high as 80% of small businesses have used or have leveraged their personal credit to build that business. And so that makes it kind of tough because if something happens with that business, it could potentially fall back on you, right, personally. So that's pretty much what all this is going to be about. Perfect. I see Omar already put a 1 in there, so you're hearing me just fine. How are you doing, Serena? Good to see you. Good to see you, Omar, as well. And yeah, so that's pretty much the gist, guys. Again, if you have any questions related to even personal credit, I'm willing to answer it here in the live as well. But this live, in terms of the information I'm going to be giving out in general, is going to be more focused towards business credit and what I've seen so far. That way, if you guys want to follow along with me, that's fine. This is going to be more of like an exclusive where I'm telling you guys what I'm going to be doing in the next 2 weeks. And then I plan on releasing an actual video on the channel, a more like more of a production video. And on that video is where I'm going to show you guys like what I did, the exact resources I used, and so on and so forth. Okay. So let's see. Let's go ahead and get started. So really, before you even try to get business credit, you want to make sure that your business is actually set up correctly. So I have a few, that's pretty much what I was doing this week, is more so like business credibility, as I like to look at it, and making sure that everything is set up on my end. And that's kind of a little bit of the stuff that I'm going to talk about today here. Alrighty. So right off the bat, one thing that I saw was like you want to have an actual business, right? Now, this doesn't necessarily mean like you need to have like a business that's making $40,000 a year, $100,000 a year. It's more so saying in terms of like legally you have an actual business. So, we all probably have friends that do like, they have like side hustles, right? They make money on the side. A lot of the times it'll be a situation where like, for example, maybe you have a friend that does hair, right? And they know how to braid hair or whatever it is. If you go get your hair braided with them, typically what happens is you then pay them money, right? Whether you pay them cash or you send them money through like Cash App or whatever it is. Well, now they might not be like, they might not have an actual corporation set up that they're running all the expenses through or all the income is going through. It might just be something where they're making money. So technically it's like they have a business, but in the eyes of like legally, they don't have a business, right? They have no sort of business structure. So in that case, it'd be considered more like a sole proprietorship is the legal term for it. Now, what you want to do is you actually want to set up an LLC. Okay. So you want to set up either an LLC or a corporation. And that can all really be done. You do it through your Secretary of State, which is in whatever specific state that you're living in. There's a lot of programs out there that, or a lot of websites that will do it for you. You just pay them a fee on top of whatever the filing fees are for your state. I haven't looked at those specific company or those specific companies yet, but that's something that I'll be deep diving into whenever I actually create the final video for it. Right off the bat, I know one of them, I think it was LegalZoom. Okay. So don't quote me on that. I believe it was LegalZoom. And there's like a few other ones. If you know some, you can throw it in the chat as well. And I'll be happy to take a look at them. What I plan on doing is finding a bunch of them. I'm just going to kind of like look into it, see what kind of reviews they're getting, stuff like that. Try to reach out to anybody that's used them. And then I'll kind of relay that back to you guys. Me personally, I'm in the state of Texas. So it's really simple to set it up through the Secretary of State. So I typically don't use any of the services, any of these services like LegalZoom and stuff. I typically just do it myself. So I don't really have expertise when it comes to actually using those actual different companies. Okay. Let's see here. Yeah. So the first things will be having an actual business. I'm pretty much done with that. The company I'm going to be using is a company that I was like, it's one of my older companies that I was using for like e-commerce type stuff. Like I was setting up websites, things like that. So it's kind of, I've had it for a couple of years and I plan on just testing this whole process with that business. So I don't have to worry about that specific part of it. But the next step you want to do is you want to actually get an EIN number. And that stands for employer identification number. You could just think of it as like the social security number for the business. And this is the number that you want to put on every form or whatever that you're filling out. Like you always want to use the EIN number. You don't, if there's a section on a form where it says something about like putting your social here, whenever you're filling out business applications, you just want to leave it blank. You don't want to put anything in the social box whenever it's asking for your specific social. Okay, so that's the route I'm going to be taking. If I get denied, I get denied, but I want to make sure that I don't ever have to put my social. That way nothing's tied back to me personally. Okay. And then let me see what else. Yeah, this is the one I'm trying to figure out is, you need a business address. I think this is probably gonna be one of the tougher ones, right? Because like you need a business address, but nowadays, so many people can have like online businesses and things like that. So it makes it a little tougher for you to be able to actually have like a brick and mortar. And typically those are going to cost a lot more money. So, if you have like an office or something, it's going to be, the expenses are going to be a lot higher in terms of you having the office than you running a business out of your home. Even though I know there's plenty of people who have run a business out of the home and even run it like a 7-figure business from their house, right? So I think it's a little dated in terms of using a business address, but I know there's different ways to do it. And that's pretty much what I'm going to be doing the majority of this following week is going to be figuring this part out just because I do most of the work outside or in my house. And at times I do have I have done, if you guys have heard of WeWork before, it's almost like Airbnb, but for apartment building, or excuse me, for offices, right? And so the idea is you can go and rent out either an office or even a seat in like an office type environment and be able to do your work there. So they do have that available, but from what I've been reading online, those won't work. You're going to need something that's more of like almost like a virtual address, but I'll be deep diving into that whenever I make that final video, because I still need to do more research on it. But I think just looking at all the other stuff we're going to need, I think that's going to be probably the toughest part is the business address. Yeah, it's just, to me, it's a little dated, but that's kind of what the lenders and everything want to see. They want to make sure that it just looks more established, as opposed to you saying, oh, I'm running this business out of my house. It doesn't sound as professional as you saying like I have an actual business address where I receive mail and everything like that. Okay. And then after that, something called you got to get a business number. This is more of like a phone number, a business number. So I'll put phone in parentheses. and 411 directory listing. So basically, you're going to need like a business number. One thing I did read online was you want to be extremely careful with using your regular phone number. You know, like your cell number, or if you have like a home a landline, a home line at the house. Those are the kind of things you don't want to put on applications because that to them looks really unprofessional. So you want to make sure that you're using. There's a lot of services out there. I've used quite a few where it's like a virtual number. So it'll be like you can even get like an 800 number or a local number that you're using, and you use that just for business. But what it does is it redirects all the calls to your actual cell phone. And a lot of these guys nowadays, they have even apps and stuff. So you're able to access it through the apps. So you can turn it off. If you just want it to be like 9 to 5 or something, like regular business hours, you can do that through the app. So I think this is going to be a really simple process to do as well. The 411 directory listing, that one's a little weird. I'm not sure. From what I've been reading online, is you can find some places that'll there's some places that'll automatically add you into that because you want to be in a looks like a local 411 directory in your area, and you also want to get a 800 number as well. And then, so yeah, basically that it kind of it's just perceived by lenders as just a kind of a sign of credibility. So that you're all of this is to make it so you have more credibility because you kind of want to look at it in the sense that like imagine if someone came up to you that you didn't know and they asked you to borrow $100. Like you're gonna look at that person like they're crazy. Like, no, I'm not gonna just give you $100. But if it's someone who you find reputable, right, you're more likely to let them borrow money because you, in your mind, you think that you have a better chance of getting paid back, right? And that's kind of the same thing with this. Is like we're trying to get banks to give us money without us having to use our personal socials with it, right? Without using our social security number. So we have to show like we have to be a lot more professional and kind of show a lot more, portray a lot more credibility. That way we're able to secure different types of credit. Okay. So that's really what the gist of these are going to be. And pretty much majority of all what I'm talking about today is going to be, it's going to come down to, you know, how to be able to build that credibility. Make sure we don't. If you guys have any questions about what I'm talking about so far or anything in general, just throw it down in the comments and I'll be happy to respond to it as well. Let's see. Yeah, and then another one I had was get a fax number. I'm just going to add it on here as well. Business number. Reason why I'm adding it is like nowadays with all these like software companies, you can find a company that does fax. Like the number I had a number last year. I was just trying out for one of the businesses I was trying to run, and they had like a fax number where I could give that number to people, and when people sent a fax to that number, it came straight to my email. So that's going to be something that's really easy to do as well. I don't think that's going to be an issue. Another one that might be an issue for some other people is going to be you want to have a company website as well. Okay. Oops. Yeah, you want to have a company website as well. I think that could probably be the hardest part for some people is just figuring out how to go about setting up the website. But honestly, I think you just want nowadays there's a lot of easy ways to get it done, and you just want to try to find the easiest way for you to be able to do it. Like nowadays, what you can do is you can like search up like WordPress is one of the most popular how do I say one of the popular most popular platforms. Excuse me. And so you can try to look for like themes. They're called themes, and basically what it is it's like a template already built. Like no nowadays a lot of people don't build their websites from scratch. They use what's called themes, and you're able to just like install it onto your website. So you just plug it into your website, and then all you really have to do is change the colors, throw in a logo, things like that. So it makes the process really easy. Okay. And I've built websites before, so I think that part won't be much of an issue for me. It's really just going to come down to getting a website, and then I'll throw a logo on here as well. And then the logo, don't think that people are building their own logos either, or don't even think people are paying like, you know, like $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 for a logo, maybe like I was back in the day. Now you can go to websites like Fiverr or Upwork. You probably pay $5, $20. Even if you pay $100, like $100, you could probably get a really great logo done. So I think that's another thing that won't be bad at all. Okay. But right off the bat, this is going to be some points that you're going to want to get done. So if you guys are trying to do the business credit, you can kind of follow this along or follow along with me as I do this, or, you know, you can wait until you kind of see what my results are, whichever one works for you. Again, and for those of you guys just jumping on, this is going to be strictly trying to get business credit, steps to business credit without a social. So we're not trying to use any type of social right now. Today's really the first episode or first lesson where we're more so just laying the groundwork. This is what you're going to need to get done before you can even start applying for any type of applications, things like that, or trying to get access to any credit. You first got to lay the groundwork to show that you're more credible. So just a little more work than you would have to do for like a personal social, but nonetheless, we got to get it done. So let me see what we got next here. Yeah, company website. You need a company email. And what that means is like I have an email. It's like, for example, I have Tommy@TommyBoboy.com. Okay. Let me see if I can shrink this down actually. Hopefully y'all can still see that. If you're having trouble seeing that, just let me know. Okay. Yeah, that's not bad. Yeah, so that's what my email looks like. And the idea behind this is like, it looks a lot more professional than having Tommy@gmail.com, right? This kind of shows like if you're sending an email to like Facebook, or if you're not sending emails to Facebook, but if you're sending an email to any like actual reputable company, they'll typically have an email that has their domain, this section at the end, right? And so that's kind of what you want to make sure that you have. And nowadays there's a service. I use G Suite. Literally, you pay, I believe it's like $5. It can't be more than $10 a month for the email. And you can buy a domain name. So I own TommyBoboy.com, and that costs probably another $10 and $10 flat fee. I think at the most you pay every year to update it or something like that. But yeah, it's not gonna be bad at all. So that literally should take you could probably get that set up in like hour a day at the most, right? But there's plenty of resources out there to kind of walk you through all that stuff. And then getting a bank account. So that's going to be one of the things you want to get set up. And I was actually reading something interesting about this. So the way that the bank accounts work is that like a lot of these lenders, they are looking at your bank account as they look at that as the first time you open business. So the first time your business got started. So if you've had a business, let's say that you have an LLC already or a corporation opened up, and maybe you opened it up in 2010, but then you didn't really set up a bank account at all until 2015, then these lenders are going to look at it like you opened for business in 2015. And that's a date that they're going to use for when your business first got started, even though you got started 5 years prior, right? So you want to make sure that you try to open a business account as soon as possible. And I think it doesn't need to be like, I know, for example, you can get one at like Bank of America or Chase or any of the bigger banks, but they'll probably charge you every month. You can start off at like a smaller bank or even a credit union. I know a lot of those guys, they'll give you an account for free. And so that way you already have a business account, and you at least have all the pieces in place. Whether you're trying to get this, like you're trying to actually get the business credit now or later, you at least have that account open. And it's kind of like, you can look at it as like you're kind of, the LLC is getting seasoned, right? So it's showing that it's older. Maybe you get LLC now because you want to try to set up business credit in like 2 years or something, right? So it's beneficial for you to get this set up really as soon as you can, right? So already get the LLC, already at least get the bank account set up. That way you have those two main pieces. I think those are really the most important pieces that you want already set up. All right, and then so after that, really, I have a few other things here. Getting business licenses. From what I've heard is like, let's say you do, I don't know, like you do hair, right? Kind of like our example we were using before. Now, I don't know personally how it works, but I do know that there might be certain licenses that you need to be able to do hair, right? And you want to make sure that you have those licenses before you start applying for business credit. The reason why I say that is because they're gonna look at you crazy if it's like it looks like you're running in like a legal, hair braiding company because you don't have no licenses or nothing, but then you're coming to them for business credit, right? So you want to make sure that you have everything in order before you actually jump into trying to get any type of business credit. So make sure you have all the licenses. If you're not sure what the licenses are, you can literally Google search that stuff, man. Like you can go like hair braiding licenses and then enter whatever your state is. So for me, it'd be like hair braiding licenses in Texas. And then there's going to be tons of articles just telling you exactly all the stuff you need. And then that's how you'll be able to know exactly where you get started with that stuff. So hopefully that makes sense so far. Let me add that here. Licenses for your business. There we go. Hopefully y'all can see that okay. Yeah. And that's really the gist of it. It was actually really interesting because like, so there's just like there is like the credit bureaus, like there's, Equifax, Experian, TransUnion. From what I'm reading is they really use the two biggest ones are, I believe it was Experian and then Duns and Bradstreet are the two biggest ones. But like kind of like your credit score, the great thing about business credit is they really are using what's the website to get email set up. Easy. You want to use, I recommend you use, so you more than likely, most people have a Gmail. Okay. That's the reason why I like using what's called G Suite. Let me see what the actual G Suite. I'm gonna see what the actual is. Yeah, so it's literally gsuite.google.com. So let me type that in here. It looks like this. It should be coming through here in a little bit. Yeah, so that's really the gist of it. I forgot to even put the subscribe on here. So I'm gonna throw in my subscribe link as well. Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube. Reason being is I will be posting not only updates, but like these live streams are more so like you're able to ask any questions, just kind of like what Easy's doing. Like you're able to ask me questions, things like that, and you're kind of having an idea of what I'm going to be doing. So if you want to kind of follow suit, you can kind of do it right at the same time as I'm doing it. But what I'm planning on doing is once I finish with each phase, like this is going to be the phase, I call it more like the credibility phase, where I'm setting up every single step that you're seeing on your screen right now. So everything that's pointing, everything's that's over here. I'm going to make a video kind of detailing what resources I use, what resources are available, things like that. Right. So Easy asked about what I'm using for the email setup. What I mentioned previously is that I'm using G Suite, which is it's really just Google's email service. And to me, it's great because it's just like Gmail. So if you have a Gmail, it's literally going to be the same thing. It's just now it's going to be personalized to your domain. So instead of being tommy@gmail.com, it's going to be tommy@tommyboboy.com. So whatever my domain name is. Okay. So, and from what I see, I can even check on here what the prices are. I can't remember. I think I'm paying like maybe $5 or something not bad at all. Yeah. So I'm seeing on here $6 per month. So it's not bad at all. And it's definitely worth it. It just makes you look a lot more professional. Okay. So yeah, so that's going to be the gist of it. So bank accounts, licenses. Let me see if I have anything else. Yeah, I mean, that's really the gist of it. And then you kind of want to just make sure this was another big point. Okay. And I need to write this down. Make sure all your business info is listed the same everywhere. So that's one thing that you do want to make sure that you do. Okay. You want to make sure that all the your business information is listed the exact same. So like, for example, on your bank account, your company name is listed exactly how it is on any types of legal documents. So through your Secretary of State, whatever it shows on the paperwork, that's exactly what it's going to say on your bank account, exactly what it says on any bills that you have, things like that. Okay. Even when you're applying, you're using that exact same name. So for example, if you're doing a DBA, which is like doing business as, so some people, for example, they might have like a corporation name, right? It might be, I don't know, it could be something random like Food Processing Corporation, but then their actual name of their business is Walmart. So then it would be like Food Processing Corporation, DBA, Walmart. So that way the lenders know exactly that like the corporation's name is Food Processing, but the DBA or how they go by is Walmart, things like that. So that's another thing you just want to be careful with. And honestly, guys, that was the gist of it, man. That's kind of what I wanted to touch on. I want to kind of let you guys know what I am planning on doing in the next 2 weeks. more so just for even accountability, right? So you guys have an idea what I'm doing. So if I'm not like y'all don't hear nothing back, reach out to me, say, hey, Tommy, what's going on with the business credit? I'm trying to follow along too, see what's going on, and that'll kind of just keep me motivated to just make sure I'm putting one foot in front of the other. But yeah, that's gonna be pretty much the gist of it. Was there anybody? You said what are the first accounts to apply for? Yeah, so Omar, that's what I'm looking into. So what I found so far is it has to do with vendor accounts. You want to be applying for what vendor accounts really is like you get credit at an actual company. So I'll give you an example with like Best Buy. So a vendor account at Best Buy means that maybe I make my first few purchases at Best Buy with like a regular, it's a business account, but I'm doing regular purchases where it's like I'm putting money, it's basically like you're ordering off of Amazon, right? You pay for something, they ship it to you. Then eventually they're going to extend you credit. And what that means is maybe you'll have like a net 30 terms or net 22 terms. And what that means is you order whatever you want today, they'll already ship it out and you have 30 days to pay for it. Okay. And that's whenever like they depending on what vendor you're using, they start reporting that to your credit or to the credit bureaus. Okay. So you want to look for vendor accounts. Exactly which ones to use, that's what I'm gonna be doing the research probably next week. But again, like I'm doing it a specific way. I'm not saying that you guys have to do it that way. Of course, you can take this information and still be able to use it with including your social or anything like that. But the way I'm doing it, guys, is I'm not including my social in anything. So I just have to be a lot more careful about what kind of resources I'm using and or what kind of credit applications I'm trying to apply for, just because certain things that I'm applying for, they're just not going to approve me because I don't want to include my social, right? So I got to play it a little different. But what I would say is no matter what, when you're starting, make sure you just set it. You want to start with the vendor accounts. Another thing I would say, Omar, is make sure that you're doing the steps that I talked about today first, okay? Because it's going to make it a lot easier for you to get approved. You want to make sure that you're looking like you show them that you're as legitimate as possible before you start trying to get approved for any type of business credit, because it just gives them reason to just say no. Okay. But yep. Is there any other questions besides that? Okay. Easy said, I just started a new business, Veteran Consulting Services, LLC in Alpharetta, Georgia. Do I need a license with the LLC? Easy. It depends on what you're doing with it, right? So kind of the example I'll give you is whenever I first started doing credit repair, we had to be licensed. So I had to get a license in the state of Texas for credit repair. Okay. So it depends what field you're in. So what you want to do is whatever field you're in. I mean, from what your name is saying, I'm assuming you're doing consulting services. So it's hard for me to say because consulting is really wide, right? I've done consulting work and it was like, I've done consulting work for companies' finances, but I've also done consulting work for companies when it came to marketing. Didn't really need a license for any of that stuff, but it kind of depends what you're trying to do. Okay. So try to look in the specific niche that you're in. I would Google search that niche and then type in licenses needed. So whatever your niche is, like for the kind of example I was using previously is like, it'd be like credit repair, licenses needed in Texas, or, you're in Georgia, it'd be credit or whatever your niche is, licenses needed in Georgia. And that way you're going to see all that information. Okay. It's kind of let you know what exactly you should be doing. But yeah, man, I mean, honestly, guys, I think this is something that's going to be really beneficial. It's about more so leveraging credit. And that's really the thing that I want to focus on is how to leverage credit. A lot of people don't know it, but like a lot of the stuff that you see at Walmart doesn't own that stuff. A lot of the stuff that's on their shelves, they don't really own. Most of that stuff is they have it on credit. Just kind of like what Omar was asking earlier about what are the first accounts to apply for, and those are vendor accounts. And that's really the same idea with Walmart. Walmart really has, you could say, vendor accounts. The way they work is if I'm trying to sell something at Walmart, I have to reach out to Walmart and say, hey, can I put my bar of soap in your stores? And Walmart's going to say, okay, yeah, you can do that. We need you to send us 100,000 bars of soap so you can go to all our stores in like the South or something, right? And what they're going to say is, we're not going to pay you for 60 days. So once they receive the soap, they're not going to pay they have like 60 days before you even receive a payment for the soap that you already gave them. And during that time, what are they doing? They're going to be literally selling that soap, right? And then the money they make from it, that's what they're using to actually pay you. Okay. So, I mean, a lot of businesses use credit and leverage credit. You might not think of these businesses, but like majority of businesses are leveraging credit in some aspect. Okay, so definitely something that you want to keep in mind. Let's see. It's helping veterans get benefits and selling my book on Amazon. Helping my veterans get benefits. It's hard to say, brother. Like what I would say is try to look for I mean, there's obviously you're more than likely you're not the first person doing something like this, right? You might be the first person working with veterans, but maybe there's been some other organization out there that's trying to help some other group of people get benefits. Okay. You want to try to look for a company that's a little similar to you and then see if either if they have licenses or that'll give you an idea of exactly what the industry is called that you're in. I think that's going to be the easiest way to kind of track that information down. Okay. And then in terms of selling your book on Amazon, you're not going to really need a license for that. And that's just, I mean, at that point, you're selling either digital products or you're having the books made. You really, yeah, you're not going to need a license. And actually, funny enough, you should look into there's like a drop shipping model that Amazon does. So if you're thinking about making a book, they make it really simple. So you don't have to actually produce like 10,000 copies and ship it into Amazon. Just makes it a lot easier for you. Alrighty. Omar says, thanks. No problem, Omar. Appreciate you watching the stream. Is there any other questions by any chance? And guys, this is feel free to ask any questions, whether it's about business credit or in general. I'm happy to answer all that. And yeah, so that's pretty much, that's what's going to be. So this is the first phase is me just trying to build that credibility in terms of like building a website, things like that. The next step is going to be kind of like what was mentioned previously, what Omar touched on, is actually setting up vendor accounts. And then from vendor accounts, let me see, I had some notes here. Then I'm going to go more into like revolving accounts. So that's going to be kind of like, you can think of like credit cards, lines of credit, things like that. But they might be, you know, revolving credit where I have it as specific businesses, right? So it's still kind of similar to like the vendor accounts. But going from there, after those revolving accounts, then I can get more into like things like credit cards and lines of credit that I can really just pull the cash out, things like that. Okay, so that's kind of the path I'm thinking about following. Anyways, guys, yeah, that's pretty much it, man. That's I appreciate you guys taking the time to watch this stream. Again, guys, if you are tuning in, you're just now tuning in, be sure that you are subscribing to my YouTube channel. I don't know if I put it in already. I'll throw it in there. Subscribe to my YouTube channel because that way you're going to be able to not only keep track of whenever I go live, you want to make sure that you actually hit the bell and everything. That way you know when I go live, but also you're going to be able to keep track of the series that I'm doing. So you're going to be able to watch me actually build the business credit from scratch, and you're going to be able to follow along if you want as well. This is information that literally people will charge you. I've seen companies charge as much as like $1,000, $2,000 just for you to walk through their process. I'm literally going to be doing it on my YouTube channel for free. So definitely make sure that you are keeping track with all that information so you don't miss any of the future live streams I do. Let's see. Easy. I spoke to 2 second chance banks today. They said you must been in business 2 years with 2 years tax returns. Yeah. So if you spoke with 2 second chance banks, I'm guessing you were trying to get a loan or something. That's another thing. You're going to like, so I'm looking, and I know like the same situation you had. I probably won't have it with my business because I've had it for a couple of years. But one thing that I've been looking at is more fintech companies. So those are going to be things like they're really up and coming. So companies that probably got started, they might even only be a couple years old, right? But they just got started and now they're not really looking like these other banks at like your long history. They're going to want to see just how much money you have in your bank account, whether it's been like, you know, they're going to want to link to your bank account and be able to see like, okay, how much money he has coming in, how much money does he have going out. So it might even be less. I don't know. I can't tell you with like a definitive answer how much information they're going to want, but it could be something where they just want 6 years or sorry, 6 months and then maybe a year, something like that. Right. Yeah. So he said business credit cards. That's the thing with a lot of these business credit cards, it's going to be a little tougher, but funny enough, I actually have a card I'm going to be releasing on Monday where they actually give you up to 5 million in business credit. Now, again, that's going to be linked more to your business account or your business bank account, excuse me. But that's the idea of it, man. It's like you want to look more towards the fintech companies because they're going to be more understanding. They just want to see the cash flow. which is how much money you have coming in, how much money you have going out, because that's going to let them know like what are the chances that you're going to be able to repay me. Okay. My girl has an arts and crafts business. She wanted to know, should she form an LLC or corporation? Yeah, so she might not need it for unless she's really trying to get credit to like grow it even faster or something like that. It's kind of hard to say depending on what kind of arts and crafts she's doing. She might not need an LLC to start off with. I don't recommend that people just get an LLC at the beginning. If it's more so of like a side hustle, she has money coming in and she's making money, she don't really need to get an LLC until she gets to a certain phase or a certain point, right? Let's say she's making $1,000 a month or maybe $5,000 a month, and then you kind of feel like, oh, you know what? Maybe I need to start turning this into a real business, like a full-fledged business, right? So moving it from like a side hustle where it's kind of bringing you extra income to shifting it into an actual business where you're going to try to grow it, and you just want to make it more like kind of legitimize it more. That's whatever you want to do the LLC, okay? Because then she can leverage the credit. If there's maybe, I don't know, in terms of like materials and things like that, she can kind of leverage to where she might be able to get those materials, the raw materials, a lot cheaper, or basically, you know, on credit for free, right? She don't have to make payments for 30 days, for 60 days. And then at that point, she's already made whatever she makes and has sold it to somebody. And she's using the proceeds to actually pay back the raw materials that she had. So at first I would say she doesn't need to until it grows from there. And then once she sees, you know, you're gonna kind of tell, right? You're gonna be in a situation where it's like, man, I have a lot of money coming in. I want to grow this faster. I want to make this more legitimate. And then that's whenever she can get the LLC. If she doesn't have a logo made, she makes a logo, a website, things like that. You're just gonna kind of feel when you're in that place. Yeah, so that's gonna be the gist of it. Let me see. Did you say I will have to give my bank account for further to monitor? Yeah, so this is it. So like the one I found, they're actually really unique. So what it is it's literally a bank account. So it's like a bank account, right? And they call it different stuff. I've seen the name cash management. I've seen all these different names. It kind of just depends on what type of bank it is. But more than likely, they might, for a lot of these fintechs, they already have a bank account. You start using their bank account as a business account, and then they're going to leverage, they're going to actually give you access to credit based off of what you're doing in that bank account of theirs. Okay, so that's one option. There is some companies that do the whole bank account thing, and I mean, you're kind of like me, Easy. Like I don't want to be giving out my information. I've seen a lot of people talk about certain credit cards that ask for your bank information. I even did a video about it. I think it was the X1 credit card, I believe. Yeah, and like me, I'm the type of person like I won't give you my bank account unless it's like absolutely necessary, right? Because I think that's really like personal information, and I much prefer find another way to do it than go that route. But with these guys, oh, Omar says, thanks again, bro. No problem, Omar. Yeah, Easy. With these guys, what they do is they actually give you a bank account that you can use. You get a credit card with the bank account, or excuse me, you get a debit card, so like a regular cash card. They have a bunch of other benefits. You can get like employee cards as well. You're able to lock the cards or set limits on it. So there's a lot of other benefits, right? They just have a credit card that it's like a credit card service to kind of bolt on once they see that you have revenue and things like that you can apply for. And a lot of fintechs are doing that same thing. Okay, so don't feel like you have to give your information out. More times than not, it's going to be a situation where you're like, hold on, like this bank is better than what I'm doing at my bank, so I want to move over. Kind of like you. I mean, I'm sure there's been times where you've went from one bank to another for whatever reason, or even like a brokerage firm, like you're using one brokerage firm to trade stocks and you shift to another one because of the features. I think it's gonna be more so of a situation like that. All righty. Yeah, so that's gonna be the gist of it, guys. Again, I recommend subscribe so you don't miss any of the videos I'm gonna be posting. I'm gonna be posting more videos that are it's gonna be hard for me to answer those questions depending on how fast the channel continues to grow. But the good thing is if you're able to catch me on the live streams, which means you hit the subscribe button and then you hit that notification bell so it lets you know every time I go live. Because right now I don't have a set schedule. I'm kind of like, I was trying to do this on Tuesday, but I got really busy. Yesterday I had to go out of town, so I had to move it to today. So be sure that you hit the notification bell. That way you know whenever I'm going to go live, and it'll just kind of help you be able to come on here and ask any questions that you might have as well. Okay. But yeah, so that's going to be kind of the gist of it for today, guys. If you do have any other questions after I bring down this live. I'll be watching the comments for a little bit, so be sure to throw any comments that you have under the video as well. Okay, so appreciate you guys tuning in, guys, and I will see you at the next one.